Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra. While the markets logged their second straight weekly loss ending Friday, declining over 3% in 2 weeks, IT sector was the biggest laggard. We saw the Nifty IT index falling about 6% in trade in the last 1 week alone, marking the steepest weekly drop in nearly a year. Overall, the benchmark Sensex and the Nifty also slipped by about 1% each. Of course, this was largely weighed down by the global sentiments, domestic earnings that have been weighing down on the sentiments, and nervousness ahead of the big events that start off from today and in this new week as well. As we start off this new week, there are a lot of moving factors that the markets will be looking at. First up, something that they have been waiting for a bated breath. Donald Trump's swearing-in ceremony will kickstart today. We will also have Davos and World Economic Forum kickstart their weekly meetings today, and we will also have domestic earnings continuing to weigh on the sentiments as well. Already, the pre-opening rates are kicking on. You can see 23,300. That was already indicating from the gift Nifty trends that were indicating to a higher start. Asian markets were in a positive zone in the early morning trading action, and we did get a positive handover from the Wall Street as well. We'll finally we stay things moving in the positive zone from today up until the budget. That's the big question that we're going to be addressing, and we have with us stock market experts to help you strategize for that new week as well. Mr. Chakri Lokpriya, Managing Partner, Red Strawberry LLP, joins in. We also have Vaishali Parikh, Vice President, Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar, joining in. Warm welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for taking the time out for this new week and new discussion. Chakri, let me start off with you. These big bang events that are starting, something that the markets were truly awaiting. How are things going to shape up? What is it going to be extremely important for the markets to really look at in terms of what comes off after Donald Trump's 47th swearing in as the President of the United States? And of course, Davos kicks in as well.
Good morning. Lots of things happening. A very important week, generally speaking. One, IT earnings have been good. Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, commentary coming in, partly because of, Trump coming into actually good in essence, part come because of Trump coming to power. All of them have improved their outlook. Their order books are all strong. So that's one sector is fine. Textiles, whether it's Vardhaman Textiles, Gokuldas Exports, companies like that also likely to benefit for the same reason. On the other hand, domestic earnings are likely to continue to be weak, generally across various sectors. Industrials maybe will help. And, probably Adani stocks, which have already sold off quite a bit, some of them may actually see a fair degree of upgrade in their growth.
Absolutely. Let me get Vaishali's word as well. Something which Chakri pointed out, earnings that are coming in good are going to be important for us to watch out for, Vaishali, today. IT stocks again, those that were the laggards on the back of Infosys disappointing. Today we have some better earnings coming through. Wipro, ADR was already up, and, Tech Mahindra also coming out with the earnings right there. How are you looking at the IT pack again in today's trade today, Vaishali?
Very good morning, all of you. So yes, on Friday we saw that post the results, I think of Infosys, we saw a dip in IT index. So IT index overall trend is good, and to reconfirm that the strength is intact, it needs to sustain above 42,500 levels. So that's where we need to have a look at. And stock specific, as I maintain, I still technically well placed is LTI, Mindtree. I think Infosys can be looked into at these levels. So I would be focusing on these stocks for now.
Okay, so IT stocks will be in focus. Chakri, coming back to you, the other important part will be the banking names. Something that has been a big underperformance, Kotak Mahindra Bank. How are you looking at that one post the earnings? There are still divided opinions, brokerage houses coming out with their own reports, many upgrading the stock, hoping for a re-rating to start after those years of underperformance has played out. In the pre-opening trade again, we are already seeing a sharp uptick of about 6.5% on Kotak Mahindra Bank. Do you think this will be the stock to watch from now onwards?
You're absolutely right. The stock has underperformed for quite some time. And now with margins, with the RBI ban coming out, its loan growth rate will improve. Digital taking in of new customers will improve, and because of all this, the NIMs are likely to improve. So for a bank which has not done anything for the last couple of years, even a marginal improvement will help push up the valuations. So from that perspective, I think, it's worth a trade at current levels.
Vaishali, how about you? How would you look at Kotak Mahindra Bank today? Technically speaking, will this bounce sustain? I think it's already picking up pace in pre-open, now up over 7% at 1885. Is this the stock to watch out for today?
Definitely. Actually, I agree with Chakri. I mean, it has just not done anything. It has just gone sideways. So technically, it needs to sustain about 1850, 1860. And that gives the higher targets of 1920, 1940. So yes, this is a level to watch. Wait for a dip. 1850 is the, which was earlier the resistance, now becomes the support. And get into the stock for a long-term perspective of 1950, 2000.
Okay, so that's as far as Kotak Mahindra Bank is concerned. Let's look at some of the other stocks also that are reacting to their numbers in the pre-open rates. Let's look at ICICI Lombard General Insurance, for instance. This company, they reported Q3 net profit that surged 68% year on year to 724 crores. Revenue rose to over 5,045 crores from 4,300 crores earlier. The combined ratio also improved for the company right there, about a 1.5% uptick for this one. Chakri, insurance is an interesting space that I wanted to discuss with you as well. How are you looking at it? What are the regulatory aspects that one has to keep in mind here? Life versus general, what are you keeping a focus on in case the IRDAI comes out with, the longer waited announcements that yes, things are smoothened out. Even the general insurers can continue to sell life insurance as well. How would you really look at it? And vis-a-vis the others, life insurance majors can actually sell general health insurance policies too. How would you look at it?
If you look at the recent earnings of, let's say, SBI Life, their numbers have kind of improved, but, ULIPs pulled their numbers down. And then if you look at now general insurance, again, their numbers marginally improved. But, given that there's so much uncertainty which comes to relates to what can be sold and how it can be sold, which is, again, all regulation driven and nothing in control of the company, there's too much uncertainty, and when there are so many other stocks to look at, I'd rather stay away from all types of insurance.
Okay. Vaishali, to you, what are you keeping an eye out on in the insurance sector? Is it still the state-owned ones that are going to be important for us to watch, or is it the private insurers that are actually catching your attention now?
So actually, as a disclaimer, I must say that we have been recommending SBI Life and HDFC Life. And now while talking to you, I'm looking at ICICI Lombard also. I think they're technically very well placed. SBI Life, I think, we recommended at 1460 levels, and right now it's at 1530 or so. So I would say the bias still continues to be positive. It would be a buy on dips. We look at a target of coming.
Okay.
So same way, even HDFC Life, 600 acts as a very good support, and one can look at a trading strategy at least till 680 to 700. And talking about ICICI Lombard also, on a chartical view, I would say it is made a double bottom. So gradually it is showing signs of improvement, and I think this is a buy.
This is a buy. Okay, Vaishali. The pre-open rates are settling in. Let's look at how the markets could be opening just about 5 minutes from now. The Nifty indicative of an opening about 0.4% higher at 23,290. All the sectors are indicative of a positive start. The Nifty Bank doing better in the pre-open rates. You can look at the Nifty Bank, which is indicative of a 0.6% start on the positive side at 48,834 odd levels. All the sectors in the positive zone led by private banks. 1.4% higher is what the Nifty private bank index is indicative of, and Kotak Mahindra Bank seems to be taking it away and seems to be opening with a bang. 7.5% higher is what is getting indication of 1890 odd levels currently. Along with this, the IT pack also could be in the thick zone, 0.8% higher, led by, of course, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, and the other stocks. Remember, this was the pocket that was the biggest laggard last week, like I said in the opening comments, and Friday as well, pulled down by Infosys and the other stocks. Today, there could be a positive start for Persistent, TCS, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, Emphasis. All of them could be hoping to start on the positive zone as well. Broader markets also are indicative of a positive start right there. And we will also keep an eye out on how the PSUs are doing. Chakri, coming back to you on the PSU aspect, I think this is going to get more attention now. 10 days to go for the union budget to be presented. How are you looking at the PSU space? Is this a space to again bring back our attention to? This was the favorite one right ahead of the previous budget that was announced in June, July, and we had actually seen a sharp run up and huge wealth keep being created for investors in the run up. But then of course valuation kicked in as a question mark. We did see consolidation in the overall markets bringing down some of these prices considerably. The index itself has lost about 8.5% in the last 3% as well, 3 months as well. How would you look at the PSU basket right now?
Baskets did very well last couple of years, simply because the public capex was growing and the government was spending on infrastructure, utilities, power, and power demand was supposed to be about 8-9% or higher. And then post elections last year, the public spending slowed down. Private capex did not pick up, and as a result of that, the power demand also slowed down to about 6%. So against that backdrop, everything, all related power, and many of the PSU companies, whether it is NTPC, Power Grid, or the power financiers, Power Finance, REC, or whether it's the banks, SBI, Canara Bank, all of them saw an earnings slowdown, and private capex, of course, never picked up, so they were continued to lag. So I think now with the budget, I think that will be the area of focus, because that is still the most important segment. All these stocks have corrected. I think, worth looking at power financiers at current levels, as well as NTPC and Power Grid.
Okay, so that's as far as the power pack producers, as far as the PSU names are concerned. Vaishali, for you, will you focus on the power names from the PSU back? Are these looking interestingly even on the technical charts?
Yes, I would say so, because they were all beaten up, and now I think technically they are very well placed. So I would focus on all of these.
Okay, got that. So your favorite ones will be?
So I would still go for actually Torrent Power and Tata Power right now.
Okay.
And of course, then we have the SJVN and all those, so that should also do well.
What about the railways pack? That's been garnering some momentum over the last few weeks, Vaishali. Top favorites there in the railway story?
So yes, actually, I've always been recommending Jupiter wagons, and that also surged very well. So along with
Yes.
that, Tech Rail. I mean, I think it's a basket. So well, my focus is always more on Jupiter and Tech Rail, but along with that, IRFC and those stocks also should do well.
Okay, so that's as far as the railway pack is concerned. Along with railways, I'll get you Chakri right here. Defense, how are you looking at defense right now? Are these top favorite stocks like HL, BEL, BDL continuing to be top favorites even now? Or do you think the second rung ones, the shipbuilders, which had lost about 40% from their highs, those are coming back in flavor? What would you really keep your focus on ahead of the budget as far as the defense names are concerned, Chakri?
I think defense will continue to do well, simply because, again, for the same reason that the spending by the government, and defense is very important in today's world. And the number of companies which are supplying both ancillaries, defense-related ancillaries, and the number of range of products, whether that Bharat Electronics manufactures and the range of products that Hindustan Aeronautics manufactures is expanded, just because, and that has provided an additional margin kicker. So I think, one, these is very simple to buy. A Bharat Electronics and Hindustan Aeronautics, I think they'll do well. Second, like you rightly pointed out, the shipbuilders have slowed down. The valuations have fallen. Again, the order books are will continue to remain strong. I think they're also among the shipbuilders.
Okay, prices have started to kick in, viewers. 23,250 on the Nifty right there. 45 points higher in trade. What is going up? It's private banks, over 1% higher. IT stocks, 0.5% higher for the index. Consumer durables, 0.6% up. Midcaps, about 0.3% higher. Realty, PSU banks, some gains coming in here. What's not doing well? It's the metals that are dragging right in the initial minute. Small caps and autos still on the slower lane as of now. But in terms of stocks, Wipro 6.7% higher. Of course, following the ADR move and the earnings, a very strong move that's coming in. Kotak Mahindra Bank, the second one reacting to its earnings, 6.5% higher for this one as well. State Bank of India is another one that's moving up, and you also have Reliance Industries among the top movers, half odd percent higher at 13.10 right now. But the two big names, Wipro and Kotak Mahindra Bank, taking it away right in the initial trade. But if you look at what else is buzzing in the F&O space, there are some interesting names. Vodafone Idea 10% higher, Wipro 7.5% higher. Then you also have Kotak Mahindra Bank that's 6% up even in the F&O basket. Kalyan Jewelers is also ticking up 4% higher. Indus Towers, again, so some of those telecom play stocks that are also buzzing in trade. Let's also look at the broader markets. What is looking good here? Any key stocks that we can mark? You have stocks like... what can we mark? So Tata Teleservices, you have the entire telecom space buzzing. We can continue to look at it in our discussion today. Kitex Garments, I think Chakri was mentioning these textile names that are going to be in focus. These are some of the stocks in the broader markets. In the Nifty Next 50 list, what do we have? Havells, again, earnings play 2.9% higher. Macrotech Developers 1.6% higher. ICICI Lombard earnings play about 1.5% higher. Interglobe Aviation, that's also buzzing. You have DLF. So some of those real estate plays are also doing well. Let's look at the PSU basket to see what's ticking higher. IRFC about half odd percent up in trade. You have HAL from the defense space that's also buzzing. NTPC that Chakri had marked is about 0.2% higher right in the initial trading action. Coming to you, Vaishali, Wipro 7.5% higher, soaring right after the earnings. Should one chase the momentum?
Towards 310. So, well, if that's your risk appetite.
Okay. What about Kotak Mahindra Bank? Tell us again, what should be the strategy after this 7.5% move? Again, similar to Wipro?
I would say so. As I just told you, that 1850, 1860 would act as a support, and we saw a dip coming, and from there on, it's again making a rise. So, yes, take a stop loss of 1840 and go for the stop.
Okay. Okay, got that. So, taking it away are the private sector banks. Beyond Kotak Mahindra Bank, let's look at what else is buzzing. You just have a far and few between names like IDFC First Bank and Federal Bank. So, it's largely limited to the gains from Kotak Mahindra Bank that is actually pulling up the index. Rest of them are still hovering flattish or negative at this point in time as well. Chakri, coming back to you. Apart from Kotak Mahindra Bank, what else do you like in the large private sector names right now?
Among the large private sector names, there's nothing really because Axis, results were bad. ICICI has done fairly its bit. So HDFC is the same set of problems continue. So I'd still largely stay away from them. If I had to buy, I'll still buy an SBI and a Canara Bank and among the PSU ones. Private banks, I'll still stay away.
But one stock that we need to keep an eye out on is Vodafone Idea. Now, there is this expectation. IIFL Securities, in its fresh note on telecom sector, said that the government is working on a potential partial waiver of AGR dues that could bring down the liabilities of some of these telecom majors like Vodafone Idea, and that is leading to this sharp momentum again on Vodafone Idea stock. Chakri, do you still have a belief on the revival of Vodafone Idea? I think large part of 2024, at least the first half, went on, with the analysts betting big on Vodafone Idea. It became a trader's favorite. A lot of retail investors put in their hard-earned money there, thinking of a revival coming in finally for Vodafone Idea. But again, things fell flat in the last 3 months of 2024 again, with the stock again hovering around 6.5 odd levels. Now, this again fresh move that's coming in. Would you buy it, or is it better for retail investors to still stay away from this stock?
When we put in a hard-earned money based on, the kind of the Supreme Court verdict and government verdicts, I think that is a very difficult thing to do because, both Supreme Court and the governments have not acted rationally and, therefore I would stay away. Again, because, let's say that the courts again do not allow this kind of a waiver, or the government does not waive an amount. These companies have huge levels of debt. They're not able to increase their prices either, the tariff prices, that is, meaningfully. So with such high levels of debt, I think it's best to stay away from these companies.
Best to stay away from these companies right there. Let's also take a view from Vaishali on Vodafone. Anything on the traders play that you would suggest? Today it's at the circuit, but do you think you will keep this in your radar?
So those who were really tracking the stock, they had a good buying opportunity. I would say even to those who still have to buy and want to buy, keep a stop loss of 8 and look for a target of 12. That's the range we are looking at technically. So yes, that would be the way one should go.
Okay, got that. That's the range we are looking at. Okay, Vaishali, spot some of the stocks for us. 6 minutes up. What is looking interesting to you in the opening today?
CG Power looks quite attractive at these levels.
Okay,
Uh,
CG Power.
yes. So that could
Okay.
go 700 levels and 620 as a stop loss. And which I always recommend, which is quite my favorite, it's Nalco. That is also showing strength. So that is another stock. And as I already mentioned, we have recommended a HAL that is also doing well. So
Yeah.
38 has a support. So given a chance, one can buy in dip.
Okay, got that. Chakri, another space that's buzzing, probably this upcoming budget as a theme, sugar space, something that has really not been in great flavor all of 2024, but probably some action emerging again. Dwarikesh sugar is up about 5.5% odd viewers. You also have Ugar sugar, Magad sugar, all of these second sugar names that are actually buzzing in trade today. Chakri, is this space looking interesting to you at all?
Again, there are too many uncertainties. Everything is again
Yeah.
government led, and again, in the expectation of the budget, this goes up. I think if you're a good trader, then you can, but otherwise, I would stay away from that.
What about a related space, liquor space as well? Global Spirits is up 12.5% again. How are you looking at this entire space again?
Liquor is probably slightly easier, whether it's Tilak Nagar or even United Spirits. That stock, I think, those stocks, one, they've seen volume growth. So second, there's some amount of raw material costs which have come down. So given this, I think I'd rather buy some of these stocks, liquor stocks.
Got that. Okay, let's look at some of the other pockets that are emerging in the positive zone. You have the real estate stocks again back in action. I talked about Macrotech, that remains to be the top mover, 2% higher. You have some moves coming on Phoenix Mills, DLF, Sobha, Brigade, all of these stocks as well. Vaishali, would you continue to bet big on Macrotech? Is there anything else also coming back on your radar?
So I would say yes, Lodha actually has seen a good corrective move. So it's good for a bounce back. I would say 1150 should act as a support, and 1250 to 1280 could be the trading strategy.
Okay, got that. Chakri, tell us, next 10 days, what are you going to be really doing ahead of the budget in terms of fresh funds that will be coming to you? Would you be deploying it? Would you keep a big chunk in cash only to react after the budget has been announced? What would you do?
The earning expectations generally have been low simply because reflecting that, there's nothing much that the budget can do that will significantly move the earnings needle upward. So the incremental steps that the budget can take will be in the areas of, public spending, which is largely, infrastructure or power and railways led. It's the same story as the previous years. So given this, export companies on the other hand are not nothing connected to the budget, like like IT. I think those are simpler companies to buy ahead of the budget because they are likely to do far better than the overall index.
Do you have a pecking list or an order right there, Chakri, when it comes to the IT pack right now? Some of the earnings that have already come in, have you shaped up anything in your mind that, okay, top 2, 3 names, what will they be in case you have to fresh apply or fresh funds that you have to deploy?
Yeah, HCLC has corrected, worth looking at current levels. In the mid cap space, Scient, that has a space, the whole ERD space will kind of pick up, manufacturing will pick up, high-end tech spending will pick up because that's the second derivative trades. So those trades will come a little bit later because, after Trump comes in, budgets become clearer for US companies and they'll start allotting. So I think that within the, and also persistent systems and maybe to an extent TCS.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as the IT play is expected right there. If I have to ask you, Vaishali, pick top 2-3 names from the IT pack, what would those be?
I would say Infosys has corrected substantially, so I would look at this stock at around 1780 levels. That would be the level that I would consider buying. And the other stock, as I mentioned, LTI Mindtree, technically very well placed. That still shows a lot of upside potential. So I would say start accumulating, keeping in mind 5500 as support. And once we see a gradual move going above 6200, I think this can go to about 6800 or so. So these two stocks I'm tracking.
Okay, got that. Chakri, another space is going to be the new age internet space again. Today, again, two earnings will be coming in. Zomato, Paytm. How are you looking at these two? Any where big expectations that you have of continued uptick that one can bet big on continuing even now?
Zomato and Swiggy have kind of corrected. Paytm is again, a couple of event related, so I'd still stay away from it. But Zomato and Swiggy both have corrected fair bit. Swiggy is the cheaper one of the lot. And in terms of earnings, I think both will likely to show decent numbers in line with expectations. So I think worth considering Swiggy at current levels.
Worth considering Swiggy at these levels. Okay, that's interesting. Vaishali, to you, new age internet basket, what would you bet big on? Ahead of earnings, Zomato, Paytm or others?
So see, Paytm is already run up. So fresh buy, I would not recommend. If one gets a chance at around 800 levels, it makes sense.
Okay.
But Zomato, I think keeping in mind 210 as support, one can consider that stock. And so also is the case with Swiggy. Swiggy also shows a lot of upside potential. We've seen the recent corrective move coming right from 600 to now 450, 460 levels. So I guess fair levels to consider.
Okay, got that. So that's the new age internet basket right there. Chakri, I know we have to let you go at 9:30, but before we let you go, I think the biggest event will be everybody keeping an eye out on, how Donald Trump returns to the White House now. Tell us, what is the one thing that you expect him to do that would be great for the Indian markets and the emerging markets at large? And what you absolutely are keeping your fingers crossed that something should not come, after he assumes office today?
I think one is, buy the, he says buy fossil fuels. With this famous statement, drill baby drill. So I think buy Reliance Industries and all, fossil fuel related companies, NTPC.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chakri, then for being with us
Thank
on
you.
this show and helping our viewers really understand all the insights that you share. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
Okay, markets have flattened and in fact have slipped below the flat line. 23,200 now. The initial momentum seems to be dwindling in just 15 minutes of trade, viewers. We are now trading absolutely flat at 23,200. Vaishali, chart for us. What does the first 15 minute of candle really suggest to you for the day?
So I would say Nifty is showing a tough resistance at 23,300, 350, and that's what has precisely happened. So I guess the bias is going to be sideways. So if we break 23, 150, I think we are looking at 23,050 and perhaps a bit lower too. So hang on as far as the major index is concerned, but stock specific, as I mentioned, time to accumulate good quality stocks. And I would focus right now as a trading strategy. Look at Manappuram Finance.
Yeah.
In spite of all the choppiness, volatility, it's showing strength. So I would say 185 acts as a support and look for a target of 210, 220. Likewise, even HDFC Bank is showing strength. So stock specific, and in my opinion, capital goods like that is ABB, Cummins, all these stocks have really shown very good corrective move. Technically fairly priced at these levels. So I would consider these stocks to start accumulating.
Okay, got that. So that's the view that is coming in on the key stocks that you can look at. Okay, let me throw in a few names to you, Vaishali, and you can tell us what exactly should be the strategy there. The top mover on the Nifty Next 50 list right now, viewers, Havells, 2% higher right now, and it's trading at 1609. Do you see this fresh move sustaining? What are the targets that you could look at on Havells right now? Would you chase it?
So So I would say, even when I'm looking at the weekly chart, it did a low of somewhere around 1520, 1530, I think. And that was a very crucial support. It's giving a bounce back. So now what is important is it needs to sustain about 1620, 1630 to have a clarity for an upside target of 1680. So I would look at it this way.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as Havells is concerned. Your suggestion, Meshali, HAL is now the top mover in the PSU basket, 1.5% higher, 4,178. Can one still buy? What will be the target next?
So next target we are looking at is 43, 4400. One can buy, but I would definitely say, since I was saying technically 3850 was a very good support level and we've seen a good surge. So I would say accumulate, because these are the stocks which will give good returns even for a long-term perspective.
Okay, got that. So that's the view that's coming in. You know, we were discussing Havells. Another very interesting name that's buzzing within the same sector is Vito Switchgears and Cables. It's 10% higher from the broader markets list. That's the move that you're seeing on this one as well. We rarely discuss this stock, and I believe not, very long time charts for you as well on this one, Vaishali. Vito Switchgears, do you track this at all?
Yes, I do. And today
Okay.
we are seeing a good gap up opening, and the volume is also good. So I think with today's low and stop loss at around 130 levels, one can take that as a stop loss. And we need a follow up buying. So I would say if that is so, it would go towards 160, 170. So risk reward is also good. 130 is stop loss. Look for a target of 170.
All right, got that. Let's look at something else. Okay, so the telecom space, I cannot take my eyes off. So many stocks that are buzzing. Tata Teleservices now up 11.2%. MTNL, that's up over 11%. Vodafone, we have marked it as a 10% circuit right now. You have many other stocks like in an Indus Tower, maybe an Akash Exploration Services. All of these stocks that are linked to the sector somehow are actually buzzing. Vaishali, what looks good to you? Will you look at the telecom space anywhere or any stock that catches your attention?
So I'll be very comfortable with Bharti Airtel,
Bharti
Indus
Airtel,
Tower.
okay.
These are the stocks, which are already having a good trend. Even Indus Towers, the long-term trend is very good. It has seen a good up move. Bharti Airtel also very good trend intact. 1550 acts as a support, 1650 acts as a resistance. So yes, Indus Towers also 330. That was the level that we were focusing on, and we still continue to stay positive on Indus Towers. So I would be comfortable with these two stocks.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as the telecom play is concerned. Viewers, half of the sectors which we track for you have slipped into the red. Autos are now down 0.7%. Pharma is down half odd percent. Metals have lost ground as well, 0.3% lower. Then you have FMCG that's also declining, 0.2% now of a cut. Oil and gas, realty, even the broader markets, the mid and the small caps have now flattened out now with a negative bias is what you can see. Barring the private banks, that's definitely up because of Kotak Mahindra Bank's results. Barring the consumer durables, PSU banks and financial services, rest of the pocket has slipped. Even the IT stocks, despite Wipro surging 7.5%, the IT index is absolutely flat right now. So the market breadth is dwindling towards the declining side right now. Just within 20 minutes of opening in trade, the momentum has not been sustained. So you can actually see more and more sectors coming into the grip of the bearish trend right now. Let's look at the autos, what's actually declining here and what is pulling down the index. TVS Motor, Eicher, Tata Motors, you have even the tire stocks like Balkrishna MRF that's down, Bosch is down, Hero Moto, Apollo Tires, Bajaj Auto, all of these stocks are actually declining in trade. Pharma, let's look at this pocket as well. The index is itself down by about half odd percent right now. What's not doing good at this point in time here? Ipca Labs, Lupin, Dr. Reddy's, Glenmark, all of these stocks have now slipped. Sun Pharma, Alchem Laboratories, Zydus, all of them have declined in trade right now. These are the pockets that are weighing down heavy. Now 0.8% of a decline as far as the auto index is concerned. Vaishali, the auto stocks for you, would you buy this dip?
I am comfortable with Maruti because Maruti is still holding the levels well. So yes, I choose Maruti over other stocks, and I would say that yes, stop loss of 11,650, and look for a target of 12,400 to start with.
Okay, got that. As far as the auto names are concerned. Okay, let's pull up other consumer durables names. That's on the positive side. We did discuss one or two of them, but let's pull up some of the other stocks. Amber Enterprises, an erstwhile favorite and something that has actually done very well in the EMS space. 1.6% higher. Dixon is pulling up, half odd percent higher as well. And of course, there are other sector majors that are also pulling up in trade. EMS play right now, Vaishali, for you. Keynes, Dixon, do you still find comfort at these levels to take a fresh entry? Amber Enterprises as well? Or what is the strategy that you're adopting here in this EMS space? It is being seen as a sunrise sector. It is being seen as a sector for investments for the future as well. Something that could be continuing to generate wealth for the next few years. Would you continue to believe in these stocks?
So Amber still looks good. There's no damage to the trend, but my view gets negated if we see the stock going below 6,600. So for now, it's a buy with stop loss of 6,600, and it can retest 7,800 and so on. As far as Dixon is concerned, well, it's quite run up. But having said that, there is still no sign of any corrective. I mean, weakness in the stock. So I would say yes, continue holding with the stop trailing stop loss, and in all likelihood, this too can go towards 18,000 and perhaps higher.
Okay, got that. So that's the view coming in. Remember, viewers, we'll keep an eye out on this EMS play as well. We have been tracking this space very, very closely for you all through its uptick, and we will continue to get you all the views right here as well. Let's look at the PSU banks, which we haven't touched. That's also holding up strong with SBI leading in the kind of move over a percent higher for this one. IOB is also pulling up. UCO Bank, Union Bank, these are the stocks that are actually buzzing. Vaishali, would you continue to be comfortable with only SBI or a Bank of Baroda, or are you now garnering, strengths to even, buy afresh into some of these second-rung PSU banks as well? Maybe a Bank of Maharashtra. Those are erstwhile favorites, Bank of India, IOB. Are you looking at them again?
I would say yes, but I would also say that let's not be in a hurry because market right now the levels are under threat. We are seeing some policy. Nifty is not ready to move past 23,350. And right now, what we are seeing that there is selling pressure started in the index as far as overall market is concerned. So let's wait it out because let's have some clarity, and we may see further dip. I think those will be the levels that I would start looking at.
Okay, got that. So that's the view that's coming in as far as the PSU banking names are concerned. Let's look at some of the other names that we can pull up for Vaishali. Okay, I wanted to discuss from the tourism and the hospitality basket. How can we forget? The Mahakumbh is on, and tourism is something that we are all focusing on. IHCL, we've discussed so many times with you, Vaishali, and what we are now seeing is that the earnings have also come in. What is your suggestion on IHCL? The net profit increased to 582 crores from 452 crores on a year-on-year basis, and the revenue also rose to 2,533 crores from 1964 crore rupees as well. EBITDA has grown, margins have improved to 37.97%. So all the parameters have headed to a positive one, and this has also been one of the top favorites of investors, traders, analysts over the last year as well. How would you look at Indian hotels?
So, well, today's candle is a bit of a worry. It is showing a lot of selling. So, I would say that yes, if one has to buy, 740 is the level to look at because right now it is showing resistance and we are in the process of lower top formation. So, I think 740, 720 should be the level to watch for to get into the stock. If that is held on, I think it's back on track for a new round of momentum. But till then, wait and watch.
Till then, wait and watch. Okay, that's the view that's coming in. Let's look at some of the other aspects. We were discussing the financials, private banks we've discussed the PSU banks. Let's discuss the NBFC space and the wealth creating space, which has been in focus over the last 4-5 months or viewers. Again, there is a sharp move. Credit Access Grameen, 3% higher. Then you have Dhani Services, that's up. Motilal Oswal Financial Services from the broking houses space is up. Canfin Homes is buzzing. Sundaram Finance is buzzing. You have Edelweiss Financial Services, that's buzzing as well. Across the board, even Nuvama is up and about. So there are 2-3 segments here. There are the housing finance names, there are the AMC names, and then there are the broking companies as well. All three names are actually looking at some kind of a momentum today. Vaishali, any key stocks that you are looking at from the NBFC space today?
So, Canfin, I think the worst is over. I mean, we've seen a good corrective move and a one-way downfall. So, I would look at the low that was made in the recent past, and that is around, I think, 650 or so. That would be the level that I would watch for. I think those levels are good support levels for now. I would look at these stocks. And then the other stock that I'm talking about is Shriram Finance. That is also seen a good corrective move. So, well, I would focus on these stocks.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as some of these names are concerned. Let's look at the large caps now. What else can we pull up in the large cap space? Reliance. Let's discuss this one. Half odd percent higher and 1309 right now on Reliance Industries. Well, the earnings came in and went. Vaishali, are things looking up finally for Reliance, or is it still in consolidative or a sideways momentum? How would you approach the stock right now? Many brokerage houses have come out and said valuations are absolutely attractive, and this is the time to really look at this one. A last 1 year of underperformance could now finally be turned into a positive performance coming in for this one. But are you getting that confidence at this level?
I would say so because technically 1200 was the crucial support that we witnessed, and from there on, it's showing signs of reversal. So we would go step by step. So 1200 was a very good level to start looking at this stock. Now it's gradually going higher, showing signs of reversal. So next tough resistance we would witness is at around 1330, 1340 levels. Once we see the stock moving past that, we would be looking at 1420 and so on. So that is how I would say create a buy strategy with 1250 as stop loss.
Okay, got that. Viewers, the markets have slipped from the high point. The Nifty is down half odd percent from the day's high. 120 point of a loss is what we've already seen. Same way for Sensex, half odd percent of a decline from the day's high. Over 380 points of a fall is what we've actually seen on the Sensex as well. What we're also looking at, the mid caps have actually lost even further ground. That's down 0.9% from the day's high point. So the mid caps are actually crumbling further. India Wix is now trading, about 1.3% higher, and you can see 16.9 levels coming in on this one as well. 7% higher now for India Wix at 16.9 odd levels. Sharp uptick on India Wix, again indicative of the greed and fear index shifting towards, fear at this point in time as well. When we look at all of these factors in the first half an hour of trade that is played out, Vaishali, what would that indicate for a trade today? Is it better to just be very, very stock specific in trade today, with the index not giving you any opportunity to again show a one-way direction?
I would say go stock specific because market still is sideways, and right now we are seeing banking index taking the limelight. And I spoke about CG Power, so focus on stocks which are showing good volume, good momentum. I would say that would be the way of the market right now.
Okay, got that. Okay, Vaishali, for the day before we let you go, any two stocks that you would bet on today?
So I would say CG Power, as I suggested earlier. And the other stock which is of my liking is BEML. That too is showing strength. So I would say technically well placed. The stock looks positive for a target of 4,000. Stop loss would be 3,400.
Okay, got that. Well, we will thank you also then, Vaishali, for being with us in the morning edition to share with us all of those strategies, ideas that you always share with us. It's always good to have you right at the beginning of every week to give us all that bright energy that you share with us. Thank you so much for being with us. All right, 23,212. Nifty is absolutely flat now, pulling up from the lowest point, just about 11 odd points, but it's very, very volatile right at the start of the show and the trade as well, and the week too as well. The first half an hour, we've already seen the markets dwindle from the opening highs, about half odd % on the Nifty. But let's see how it goes from here as well. Vaishali has shared the strategy for you on the index level as far as the stocks are also concerned, where you should keep your momentum in. But of course, viewers, as I said, there is a lot for you to really track this entire week starting today. Again, in today's trade itself, there'll be 37 companies that'll be reporting their earnings. So earnings will be a key focus. We'll continue to get you all the updates from what's happening in the United States of America, with Donald Trump now going to be swearing in as the 47th president of the United States. He's going to be returning to the White House. What he says, the statements he makes on tariffs, his preposition as far as the emerging markets are concerned, will all decide as to how markets will shape up. The fund flows will also shape up as well. That will be important. And of course, things will start to gear up as far as evening progresses. We will get you all the exclusives from Davos at the World Economic Forum. Business Today Television will be getting you the best of voices from politics, from economics, from the business world, right from ground zero at Davos as well. So don't miss out on all of this action as we continue to get you all this throughout the course of the day. We'll wrap it up at that on the morning edition of Market Today, but I'll be back at 12 noon for another edition of Daily Calls that answers all your stock-related queries. So stay tuned for that too.
We joined in an exclusive conversation with the U.S. Ambassador to India, Ambassador Eric Garcetti. Biden administration is on its way out